everyone, this is Intuitive Edge. Welcome to my channel. This is where we take an intuitive look at what's going on in our world. So it's time to take a look at our month ahead for August 2020 to see what energies are in store, what we might be seeing happening, maybe playing out in the news and society, politics, that kind of thing. So we're going to take a look at this. I'm going to shuffle up the cards and we'll be right back and get started. Okay, so for August, what do we have coming up? So the first card out is on the political, as we see with this fire here. Ace of Fire, whoo! So look for lots going on politically. Maybe things are going to heat up a little bit. So it could be interesting politically speaking. Next, we have Society. The card for that, we have with a 5 of Fire. Now, as you can see with the artwork on this card, a lot of fighting going on. So it doesn't look like there's going to be any end to the rioting, the looting, the violence that we've been seeing. Looks like that may continue. Maybe things will escalate. Looks like there's going to be some more tension in that area. So not too good on that front, but that's kind of what I see. All right, next card out. We have the Earth, the environment. Earth, weather patterns, that kind of thing. We have the High Priestess card. Now, what I see with this artwork, I get a strong sense of being protected. You see this cat in the middle of a beautiful sea of purple amethyst crystal, but I get a sense of being surrounded and protected. Now I know that there's a lot of activity probably brewing this year, with some are predicting a pretty aggressive hurricane season. I'm wondering, I'm sensing protection with this card as it relates to the weather and the earth. So I'm wondering if this is indicative of perhaps with some of these storms that come in, that maybe certain areas might be skirted, that there's going to be possibly high density population areas that look like they're going to be hit, and then at the last minute it's not as severe. Or maybe it bypasses certain areas if there's are hurricanes or storms coming. But I'm sensing a measure of protection coming with the weather and the earth. So I'm hoping that that's a good thing. But maybe at least in August, there's a measure of protection for that, okay? Don't know about September because I'm not doing September yet. So we'll see what that says in a month. But that's what I see for that. Okay, next card. Okay, so for the past, what energy is leaving us? Now, we have the 10 of C. This is the 10 of Cups. This is actually a very positive card, a very nice card, a card of happiness and family and joy. And that's fading into the past, what's leaving. So there's an element of something good or some feeling of security that's fading into the past. Now, what lies ahead? Let's read these two cards together. What lies ahead? We have the reversed 2 of Sky. This is the reversed 2 of Swords. Now, the 2 of Swords is kind of being like you're put between a rock and a hard place. And sometimes it's hard to see your way forward. Sometimes it's difficult to have a sense of joy about the situation that you're in. So something about August is going to bring a little bit of a sense of difficulty, challenge, perhaps on the home front. I sense that sense of joy and good cheer kind of fading in the background while some challenges become more prominent. It's like you got to deal with something difficult or something kind of challenging. So hopefully that's a temporary thing, but it's just saying there's something. Oh, and the other thing with this Two of Sky is this is a card about not wanting to look at something because it's too difficult to look at. So that could be difficult as well. I don't want to look at this. It's challenging my sense of security. Now, it may not be on a personal level. This is more of a global, maybe United States more centric reading. So it could apply personally as well. Maybe you have a family issue that's been good and now it's a challenge. So roll with the changes, roll with where this is taking you. I do think these things are transient in nature. It's not a permanent thing, but just a challenge to be aware of. Okay, next card. So what is our major focus this month? Now, we've got the reversed Hermit. I'll show it to you upright. This is a card of solitude, going within. Now, interesting, I wanted to break out the book that came with this because sometimes these give good insight. I want to read what this says. I think this is interesting. Too much solitude could be harmful. Now, if we think about our society, we've been in lockdown, we've been self-quarantining, we've had people that have been isolated from friends, family, and others. Let me continue here. It says, even the most dedicated solitaries need some connection with others to keep things in perspective and prevent an inner downward spiral. Consider whether you have withdrawn too much from the world, and if so, consider your reasons. Well, we all know the reason. We all know the reason, but that's interesting that it's highlighting our need for connection, our need for human connection, and the caution with being too isolated or too withdrawn, how that can actually be a detriment. So that may become a focus this month. Maybe there's another crackdown or some politician somewhere is screaming for more lockdown. Maybe there's a cramp on that. And that might be coming into focus this month. We'll see how that plays out. Okay, next card. The Help. What helps this month? We have the reversed, but I'll show it to you upright. In this deck, it's called Good Kitty. But this is the Judgment card. It's the card of having an eternal perspective on mundane issues and problems here on Earth. It's about getting a higher perspective, a divine perspective, and seeing things from the bigger picture, what really matters in life when you get down to it, the really deep stuff. Now this is reversed. I'm wondering if this is challenging us to get a higher perspective, because I think there could be a lot, especially with this society unrest continuing, and the possible threat of maybe more lockdown and that solitary, that a higher perspective is needed, especially with that joy kind of going into the background. Might be kind of a tough month. Things heating up politically again with this card. So there's a lot to consider. What is the outcome this month? Now, okay. We have the Ten of Fire here. This is actually a card about taking on extra burden, taking on difficulties. This is going to be a challenging month, maybe on a lot of fronts. And as you can see with this artwork, you know, these cats are scurrying because things are kind of blowing up around them and they're needing to get to safety or get to a better place. So there could be a lot involved with this month. perhaps the only bright side is that good feeling I felt with the protection around the weather, which seems kind of crazy because people are saying, oh, it's going to be a really bad hurricane season. And there may be some storms. So, but overall, in general, with all the unrest, this is going to be a really interesting month. Lots of things still brewing. But have an eternal perspective and don't lose sight. Maybe this is challenging us all to not lose sight of the bigger picture. That this is all kind of like, it's like a boil on your skin where you have to sometimes clean the thing out in order for it to heal. And I think a lot of stuff is coming up to the surface to be healed. It has to come up, and some of it's ugly, some of it's challenging, some of it's difficult. But you gotta kind of get to that so that things can clear up and be healed. You know, you can't just sew something over or put a Band-Aid on something and hope it goes away. If it's infected, it needs to be cleaned out. And I think that's what we're seeing is a big old ugly infection that is trying to work itself out so that it can be healed. Maybe that's the bigger picture. Maybe that's the divine picture we need to hold in mind, is that this is coming up so that it can be healed. This is all coming up for good, okay? It'll work itself out in the end. So, the bottom card of this deck, underneath this whole thing for August, what do we have? We have the reversed, I'll show it to you upright, the reverse 7 of Sky. Now, this is a card about treading lightly and being careful with your words, your thoughts, your deeds, and your actions, knowing that things can have consequences. This is a card of treading lightly and gently. So, if there's an area that needs love instead of an argument, choose what brings a more gentle approach. I think there's a lot that's going to feel very volatile in August. And the more that we can try to soften maybe our words or our actions and try to soften that energy. I don't know about some of you, but I've been feeling like a pent-up spring, like I'm just ready to spring into action. I feel so much energy around me from society. There's so much going on. There's so much anger and hatred being directed just out into the ether. That energy goes somewhere. So it's maybe a challenge not to be a receptor of that projected energy that's just floating out in the universe. That energy goes. It goes somewhere. So this is, I think, telling us to not be magnets for negative energy, but to try to diffuse, try to bring calm, take a deep breath if you have to, and just center yourself. Even just a couple deep breaths if you're feeling like you're feeling angst. And I don't know who I'm speaking to. I know maybe I'm just speaking for myself. But when you feel that angst coming on, take a deep breath. So we just need maybe to help diffuse where we can. Because this is going to be a challenging month. Doesn't mean it's going to last forever. But it may seem like a challenge. So, okay. That's all I have for August. I hope you have a safe month and a blessed month, and be well. We'll catch you next time. Bye for now.